Good morning. It is early and I just had something I wanted to share with you guys. So I wanted to jump on here and I will wait. Let me take these out. Hopefully it won't affect the volume. So I will give it a minute and see if anybody wants to jump on. But so yesterday we went fishing, which is why I look like this. My face is a little sunburnt, and I was in a funk yesterday. Like, I cannot explain it, except there were so many things that was going through my mind. Like, at one point Corey asked me, he's like, what are you thinking about? Like, the family's up here, and I was kind of at the back of the boat and I was staring off, and I was just thinking about all kind of things. Like, I was thinking about, how much weight I had gained and how I couldn't even like enjoy the things that I normally would enjoy, and how I just was worried about just everything that was going on. And I know that sounds really crazy and really kind of selfish and self-absorbed, but I had been through a lot in the last few years, and I had been kind of given these victories, and then they would kind of fade away, and all these things that I kind of thought would make me happy. And if any of you are watching this and you're a woman, probably one of the biggest things that women deal with is insecurity. And yesterday the voice of insecurity was very, very strong. And I just was so mad at myself for so many different things. I was mad at myself for gaining weight back. I was mad at myself. But the fact of the matter is, I gained weight back because I got off a medication that had held me captive. Like, I was miserable. But this is what the Lord spoke to me. Well, let me finish this. So I was my mind was in so many different places. I was looking around at the house, and it was really dirty, and I was mad at myself because I didn't have the energy to clean it. But I have so many things going on right now with my body. My hormones are all in balance, and I'm telling you all this to set up the scene. So last night I got very, very emotional, and I got very upset, and I went to take a bath, and I was sitting in there, and I was just kind of alone with my thoughts, and I had some worship music on. And I was like, Lord, why won't you take this from me? Like, I started getting into a place where I was complaining. I was like, God, why can't I be like I was before? I mean, I remembered a year ago, like, I started mourning my old man. Like, I started mourning the way that I looked, and I started mourning that energy that I had and those things that I thought made me feel good. And I was like, God, with one snap of your fingers, you could take this from me. With one snap of your fingers, you could make this right. Like, I wouldn't have to feel like this. I wouldn't have to long for the things of old. I wouldn't have to be 30 pounds heavier. Like, you could just snap your fingers and all of this would be gone. And so I got up this morning, like I have been, and had my coffee, and I was walking up and down my road because I've kind of decided, like, just to walk and pray and worship and drink my coffee. And it's just something I've been doing over the last couple of weeks where, well, as I was walking, it was early enough that the moon was still out and the sun was just coming up. And so I was walking, and all of a sudden out in the field, I saw the cloud of fog. And it was just as the dew was settling on the ground, which happens first thing in the morning. And the Lord started recalling to me the story in Exodus where he had delivered the children of Israel through Aaron. Exodus is a deliverance of Israel from Egypt and walking towards their promised land. And how the Israelites complained. They complained the whole time. They were almost mad at God for delivering them from things that had enslaved them. And the Lord just spoke to me and was like, I'm going to take care of you every single day. But just like the children of Israel had to rely on me in the morning to eat, you're going to have to rely on me every single day for your strength and to be able to withstand and to be able to fight the flesh and the different things. And I may be just rambling here. Hopefully somebody needs this and needs to hear it. So I'm just going to read a little bit out of Exodus to kind of tell you what I'm talking about. So the story starts in Exodus 16, where God has delivered them out of Egypt. And it says, And they took their journey, this is chapter 16, they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against the Lord. They were murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. So they were complaining. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God have us die by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by flesh pots and we did eat bread to the full. For you have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill us with hunger. And then the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove to them that they will walk in my law or not. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel at evening, that you shall know that the Lord has brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning they shall see the glory of the Lord, for that he hears your murmurings against the Lord. So basically, like, they're complaining, right? They are complaining, like, are you serious? Did you really bring us out of Egypt where at least we had food to eat? At least we had meat. At least we had bread. Did you really bring us out of Egypt to bring us into a place where now we're going to starve to death? God delivered them from a place of slavery. And they lying. They wasn't eating good in Egypt. But this is the thing, like, I realized. I'm longing for things that I only remember the little bit of good, but all that little bit of good came with so much bondage and so much slavery. Like, I was a slave to Adderall. Like, I was a slave to my prescription drugs. And what I mean by that is I couldn't function without it. I couldn't throw a birthday party without it. I couldn't do household chores without it because I needed that energy, right? So I'm thinking yesterday and I'm like, oh my God, like, I miss being skinny and I miss the energy and I miss all this, but then I'm forgetting the bondage and the slavery that came with that. Does that make sense? Like, here I am complaining to the Lord last night. Like, dude, did you really bring me here that I could just waller in my self-pity, that I could just gain 30 or 40 pounds and be fat again? Like, did you really bring me out of this to where I can't even have any energy now to take care of my family and my hormones are all whacked up? Like, did you really do this to me, God? And even in their complaining, their murmuring to the Lord, God says, tell them I'm going to take care of them. But what with manna, the thing with the manna is that it was only enough for each day. If they gathered too much, if they got too worried and hoarding a bunch of manna and hoarding a bunch of food, it was going to rot the next morning. It was going to rot. We cannot gather all these things within ourselves and think they're going to sustain us daily. We cannot do all this work and think that it's going to sustain us daily, because it will not. So I want to ask you this morning, are you mourning your Egypt? Are you mourning a place that God has delivered you from because you can't remember all the bad things that came with it? This morning, as the sun came up and I saw the dew falling on the ground, the Lord reminded me that my mercy is new. That saying, my mercy is new every morning. April, my mercy is new every morning. And remember what I brought you out of. Instead of remembering all the good things, which were very few, remember all the bad things. Remember the place that I delivered you from. Remember your Egypt. So I just ask you this morning, just to remember. Don't forget where God brought you from, because it is forgetting where God brought us from that is the biggest tragedy in the human race. I love you guys. Have a blessed morning.